Hello and welcome to the Robot VARNAC video. Today we are going to be taking apart this old model number 1.5 coffee grinder, coffee mill. Here you can see how the original red enamel's all worn out in there. Use a wire brush to scrub it out. You don't want to keep it wet for long, it'll start to rust. You want to keep it dry. You gotta weight lift with this thing, it's that heavy. When you're taking these old pieces apart, watch for reference marks that they use for assembly at the factory to keep an eye on what you're doing. I figure some clear enamel in there to keep it looking old while preventing contact with the old enamel for food safety will be in order. Now on to cleaning the other pieces. This would be the grind adjustment. In fact, put all the pieces in there and let them soak. just like the last coffee grinder video, folks. You can see how the water's turning brown from the old coffee grind, the coffee beans in there. This is very interesting. As you can see, in the old days, they had a rubber bushing in there that's now deteriorated. So there's like there was a rubber bushing in there. To keep the coffee, so you might need to get a rubber bushing if you have a similar coffee grinder like to this. Because you do see an oil hole here for oiling it, so even in the old days they had the bushing there to keep the oil away from the grinding coffee for food safety, because you don't want your coffee tasting like old motor oil or axle grease, whatever you put in there. So they need a new bushing, rubber bushing. It's completely coming apart. There's this, you can see in there that the rubber bushing is crumbling right in there, so we need a new bushing. There, you see the remnants of the old rubber bushing. And they had the threaded there for the adjustment screw, so that will come out. So before you buy an antique like this, folks, you want to be able to take it apart and know exactly what you're dealing with. So you could, if you want to put it back into service, you want to do it safely and not have chunks of old rubber going into your coffee grounds in this case, without putting a new rubber bushing in there. You can actually see the old cast iron finish before they put the enamel on there, or someone put the enamel. It might have left the factory of simple gray cast iron. And if it had a rubber bushing on one side, chances are it had a rubber bushing on the other side too. So you want to watch for that too. If they did one on one side, they probably did it on the other. And be careful using the wire brush when your hands are wet, because your skin is softer and the metal dig into your skin a lot easier than if your skin is dry. It's old public domain music, by the way. The brass wire brush is good for cleaning without removing the red enamel, because I want to keep the old enamel finish so it looks more antique-like instead of a brand new machine from the factory. So I want to keep its old enamel patina intact. So the brass wire brush isn't, it takes the dirt out, but it won't ruin the metal finish. I know some people say you're using a wood chisel to clean metal, but that's what sharpening is for. And then, like woodworking, you want to keep the chisel away from your hands. This thing must be, no telling how old this thing is. It's dirt is caked on here like crazy. But you can see it's getting back to the original cast iron finish as it when it left the factory. Let's see, I want to do some more of its work on that thing. Now to clean the burr. Go in the direction of the burrs to get all the dirt out of there. And there's the reference mark you might have seen on the casing of the grinder to hold the cone and the insert in place. Again, you want to use the brass brush so you clean the dirt out of the ridges and grooves in there without ruining the metal. And you can see a good example. The burrs are bigger here, and as the coffee beans make their way out to the exit, it gets finer and finer. Now that cleaned up nicely. And now for the burr itself, again, use your wire brush in the direction of the ridges. I guess the cone could come off, but the end is so worn and eaten up that I'm not going to pull the cone off. It looks a lot like the larger version of that other coffee grinder. If you look in the other videos, you'll see the mini coffee grinder compared to this thing. You want to get all the dirt from inside there. Especially where the beans first enter the grinding. Looks like the manufacturer left a little bit of roughness on the edge of the burr to help hold the coffee bean in the grinder to keep it from popping out. So it'd be a little rough to help hold the bean in place to force it into the grinding mechanism instead of having the surface perfectly machine smooth like the other parts are. It could be old ingenious manufacturing techniques from the past that are lost in today's world. Because you see a modern burr coffee grinder today, all the surfaces are precision machined. They don't have old rough surfaces like this anymore. This is a thing of the past. Ah, there it goes. It came off. What do you know? Right before your eyes it happened. You see it happen, folks. The ammonia did its work. Ammonia, the wonder cleaner. That's why stores don't sell it, because they want you to buy their other overpriced cleaning chemicals. But good old-fashioned ammonia gets the job done. Hey, really clean inside there now. The parts came apart. This is probably the first time in who knows how long this machine was actually taken apart and cleaned. You see how much more robust and larger the parts are for this coffee grinder compared to the other one in the other video. You see how as the handle became loose over the years, people were, and it even had the flat side here from the factory, but everyone just ground over it and So what you'd want to do is take a file and re-flatten that edge to help hold the handle in place when it's grinding again. It almost sounds like a sound effect from a Godzilla movie. So we clean up all that part. Is there anything left in here? This old part, yes. Yes, the ammonia did its thing and got the last of that stubborn residue off. Nice and clean now. Like I said, I'm going to leave the original patina in there. Leave the patina on so it looks old when it's finished. There's one piece left. You can see how the ammonia cleaned the screw threads. Which reminds me, I might as well clean these too. Nice and clean. Clean the screw threads with the wire brush. Use brass so it doesn't scratch the metal or remove too much of the enamel. I guess don't scrape too hard, the stuff is so old it is coming off. Now we have to find a rubber bushing to put back in there. But that's where the internet will come in handy for that. You can find anything you need on the internet, even old coffee grinders. You see how the thing was manufactured for easy taking apart and cleaning, but someone just kept using it and never bothered to clean it every now and then, I guess, and it built up all this dirt. Clean the threads so the bolts go back on to put it back together again. And here's a neat trick if you want to clean the bolt. Put it back on there and use the wire brush so you don't touch it with your fingers. Clean the threads for bolt number 2. One last quick cleaning of the cone. Get the wire brush in there and clean all that goo out. You can see how hefty this thing is. How they use lots of iron back in the good old days. You want to clean all that out so where the crossbars of the shaft meet in there, you want those ridges cleaned out in there to hold everything together again. This would be good for an ultrasonic bath. That would help, but I don't want to bother getting that thing out just for this when the wire brush is working so good. The wheels are easy enough to clean. So be sure to come back next time for part 2 where you see the coffee grinder reassembled. So make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Better subscribe. I'm not sure when you'll see part 2, so you want to sign up to make sure you see it when it does happen. So that's the end for now. See you next time.